Hey guys, how are we doing tonight? Sorry about that. I was trying to do a few things at once before I came on. I forgot to put, the welcome thing in the chat. I like to, didn't mean to go to my channel, but I like to welcome everybody in as they're coming in. If you guys aren't, let me start over. If you guys aren't here in the beginning of the live, then it gives you like a little welcome, when I pin the message at the top. So I like to do that. And how's everybody doing today? Hump day. Does it seem like this week's flying by? I feel like I just said it was Saturday. I feel like I just said that. I feel like this week's flown by. But we got some new names in the chat, so it's nice to see everybody. It's good to see everybody. I'm just going to find the channel membership link if you guys want to join our wonderful channel. That way I could put it in the chat for you guys. Let me copy that real quick. There we go. I wish I had like more than two hands. I guess I could use this other one, but I don't know if I could do that. Welcome on in, everybody. Hi from Springfield, Cheryl said. Hey, Jan, how are you doing today? But first, how many titanium screws? Mr. Rosebud said. That's a good question. Probably like 20, 30. I have 8 that are outside of my body in a bag. If I can remember where the bag is, I think it's with like, other stuff that's supposed to be important stuff. I'll show them to you sometime because they actually gave them to me. I think I actually have 7 because one broke. I broke 1 in half, so they kept that one. I guess they wanted to keep one too. That's money though, I'm going to go to the top a little bit more so I can see everybody. Hey, Cheryl. How you doing today? Hey, Kitty Crime Ghoul. I like that name. That's cute. Hey, Willie. If they tear the house down, I don't know if they will tear it down or if they're going to keep it. I mean, I don't know, but I did think about it on a more personal level today, coming from somebody who has lost. I lost my dad to a car accident. He was killed in a car accident back in 2008. So it's not the same thing, but it was a quarter mile from where we lived. So we had to drive by there every day. And I'm telling you what, it was a Carter Lumber. And, like a Carter Lumber, you can get like wood and stuff there. If I could have taken a match to that place and burned it down, even though it had nothing to do with my dad's wreck, I would have, just because just seeing that building reminded me of that spot, reminded me of that. But that's just me, that's just me. Hey, Desiree. Oh, I like that. From Texas. I must have cracked my lip open a little bit today. So that hurts, but that's okay. So if you guys don't mind taking a second to hit the like button, it'll help the channel and it'll help you guys get more people in the chat to chit chat with you guys. And like I said, if you want to become a member, I did put the channel membership in there and I'll throw it in there again for you guys. And throughout the live, I'll do it as well. And we are going to talk about Idaho 4 tonight. If you guys couldn't tell by the thumbnail and the title. So we will go over some documents that just came out. They're really short and sweet, nothing groundbreaking. And then I have a short video from Kumo that had Kaylee Gonzalez's parents speaking out about just how they feel about seeing Bryan Kohberger in court. And then we'll play the Nancy Grace video. So you do soul shine for Jesus Christ? I just saw I have titanium screws too. Plus rods. Wow. Cadaver bone. Oh, I don't have cadaver bone. Wow. Some are backing. Oh, see, that happened to me. Mine broke in half because I hopped out of a car. It was like this much off the ground. I shouldn't have done it. I was still very injured. My brain is, I'm stubborn. And my mom wasn't getting around the car thing fast enough to get me. So I was like, I'll just get out myself. Yeah, don't do that. If you have any titanium metal in your body, don't jump around like you can, because you really can't. That night, it was terrible. I was like dragging my leg behind me. Oh, Lordy. I'll have to tell you guys a story someday. I think I'm going to actually tell my whole accident story again one day. like on a live, because I think that would just be a pretty good live. Be very informative. Very informative. And I do have a TikTok, and on my boutique TikTok, which is Poppy and Ari, I have I have a pretty good TikTok on there, and it like covers my whole accident. I could probably play it for you guys sometime, and just mute the music behind it, because they would shut me down for the music. But we are going to talk about Idaho 4 today, like I said. Yeah, I need to move Nancy. Oh my gosh, I forgot to move her. Look, she's not even in the frame. Sorry, Nancy. I'll move you in a minute. Vincent usually gets me ready, but he did get me ready, but he was busy. Broke your back from a fall. Oh, bless your heart. Bless your heart. Oh, bless your heart. Oh my lordy. Oh, that makes my back hurt for you. I have curves. I have an upper right curve, a middle curve that's like 16 degrees, and then a lower left curve in my back. So I know about curves, but breaks, no. I was blessed that I've never broke my back. I've twisted like vertebrae and stuff, but never broke. So, but yeah, if you guys have any injuries, go ahead and throw them in the chat, because that's what we do around here too. We do true crime and trauma, a little bit of trauma now. I mean, we really do. We all have a little bit of an ailment, and if somebody can outbeat me with how many different spots we have metal, then maybe you'll take the crown you could be TitaniumBuilt. you could be the new one. No, don't take my crown. I love it. Man, upper and lower. Really? My parents, I don't think they really knew. They did, but they didn't, because my mom was always like, stand up straight. And I was like, I can't get it to go back. So I have scoliosis. My doctor, when he came in last year, he's like, you're too old to reverse it. And that was the first time I was too old for something. So that hurt. That hurt my feelings a little bit. I'll tell you that much it did. I was like, what? And then I yelled about my parents for a minute. So we're going to go over some Idaho documents. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste I just copy and pasted the StreamYard in there. That wouldn't have taken you anywhere. I'm going to copy and paste the Idaho Judicial Branch in there in the chat for you guys before we go over the documents. That way, in case you guys ever want to go to the website yourself and see if there's any new documents out, or you want to go and review old documents, maybe you have a question, you're listening to my live or someone's live and you're like, wait, I have a question. You can always go back and you can check them all out. They're underneath Bryan Kohberger's name, and they have from the affidavit, the PCA, all the way down. So it's really nice to have that as a review. So there is that for you guys. Hey, American Princess. That sounds like me. I'm listening in the background while I'm doing other things. I do that too. Like not when I'm live, but you know what I mean. And hey, pagan, involuntary eye movement. Wow. I have a prosthetic. Does that probably bothers you when you drive? Like, is it fast? I feel like sometimes like would that be like a twitch almost, but like it's more permanent? Oh man, bless your heart. That's, that's got to be rough. That's why, when you think you've got it rough, someone's probably got more, rougher than you. I count my blessings. I really, really, really do. You can't drive at all. Oh, I'm terrified of driving up, like almost like if I wasn't in a bubble, I wouldn't. Nope, no sirree. I like being a passenger though. After my accident, my mom said, we're just going to get you a limo. You're not going to drive ever again. I met Vincent a few years later. So he'll usually drive me wherever, which is great. Because there's nothing worse than having to take transportation through like medical or something. If you know, it's the worst. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So the first document, and I color coordinate, like I color the documents a certain color for each person. So if it's filed by the defense, it's going to be in blue, and this will be for every case that we talk about. If it's filed in pink, like if it has pink on it, it'll be for the prosecution. And then if it's in yellow, it's courts. So I'll try to tell you guys each live. That way you guys maybe we'll learn together. And then that way, if you guys come in and you don't know what we're talking about, you can at least know for sure, hey, they're talking about something with the defense or something with the prosecution. That one $9 diamond. It is, Mr. Rosebud. I have an extra one too. And I get another one next year. You get one every 5 years through my insurance. I do. I'm extremely grateful that I get to, trade this bad boy in for a new one. I think that's better than getting a new car. And one of these days, I have a feeling they're going to have something to where you'll be able to maybe see. I don't know. I'd give anything just to see for like 5 minutes, just to see. I just want to see what I would see. It's weird, but I forget after 10 years. So this one is the state of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger, and it's just stipulated motion to file exhibit attached to defendant's 10th supplemental request for discovery under seal. And they do this whenever they file anything with like the discovery. It just is basically what I said. It says, now comes Bryan C. Kohberger, Bryan through his attorney, Ann Taylor, public defender, and hereby moves the court for an order to file exhibit 1 of defendant's 10th supplemental request for discovery under seal. And then it gives the reasonings, and it says, 1, because the documents contain facts or statements that might threaten or endanger the life or safety of individuals, and 2, it is necessary to preserve the right to a fair trial, and 3, disclosure will constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. I don't know. Hey, everybody, welcome on in. Hey, Otto, I don't know if I said hi to you. Hey, Mary Beth. I don't know if I said hi to Cheryl, but hey, Cheryl. I'll say it again. I cut my lip a little bit. Like when your lips are dry and you open your mouth, I can feel it. Really? Oh, I bet they're pretty, Mr. Rosebud. My mom had pretty eyes. She had prettiest blue eyes. I mean, like they were just, sorry, I have like something going on with mine. But she had the prettiest blue eyes, and I got my dad's brown eyes, of course. Of course I did. But I like my eye color. It's just brown, but I like it. And I've heard that if you have blue eyes, it can affect your vision can be affected like more times than not. You like people with like lighter eyes need glasses and stuff. Now, Bryan Kohberger, he has brown eyes. I wonder if it's visual snow. If you have visual snow, if you're more to have it, if you have blue, green eyes, or if it doesn't matter. If anyone has an answer to that question, let me know. He has blue? Does he? Kohberger? Does he have blue? I thought they were brown. Ozzy, you might be right. I might not even look at his eyes. I try not to look at his eyes at all. Wait a minute. He does have it. You're right. I've only been covering this case for 1 year almost. But I really don't look at his eyes too much, but I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like they are. But see, I think this is the picture I was looking at. They don't look as blue in some of them, but this one, they look really blue. Let me put this one up. Let me show you guys. Wow. These ones are bright blue. So visual snow, Kelsey, so he said, Bryan Kohberger said when he was a teenager, or in his post from when he was a teenager, he said that he had visual snow. And basically what it is if, say you're watching like a static television, like, the static on a TV, like put that in front of your like vision. So actually I can show you visual. I know I had a picture of it. There we go. This will show you what it looks like before, like with it and without like visual snow. So if you have visual snow, you would be like the person, on the right. No, I don't know if it's all the time. I think it just comes. I don't know if it comes like all, every day. That's something that we should look into that. I thought someone in here had visual snow, like a form of it. Now I have astigmatism and I'm blind in one eye. So your girl doesn't drive at night. I don't like it. I'm like, I'm cool. I'm cool on driving at night. I don't like it. The stigmatism just came. I still have, it's weird because I have over perfect vision. I have 2015, but I have astigmatism. Very weird. You guys all have pretty eyes. Look at you, like with your blue and your hazels. Well, well, shoot. And I'm over here with my brown, but I like my brown eyes. Hey, glue bug. Heterocriminal. Why does that sound so? That sounds familiar, Aussie. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's crazy. Sorry, I kind of clicked off the picture kind of fast, but yeah. So I would think that it would. No, so visual snow never affected his driving. Okay, so I would think that it would. I would be very hesitant to drive. Now, thinking of that, he did use back roads. If I had visual snow, okay, I don't even have visual snow. And I like taking back roads because of my vision. I feel more comfortable than if I'm on like a busy highway, if that makes sense. Glowbug has visual snow. Okay, I knew someone in the chat had it. So do you drive at night, Glowbug, or no? You're just like, do you take a chance? Does it come in like spurts? I have questions now. I've got a lot of questions. Steve's got the brown eyes. So what's up, Steve? You guys all have pretty eye colors. Well, dang. Ooh, soul shine for Jesus Christ. I would like that. Like, I've always wanted my eyes to be darker. If they're gonna be brown, I was like, make them like super brown, like black almost. Not like where they look scary, but where they look like cool, like really cool. You can get those yellow glasses. Which ones? I know that you can get contacts to put in your eyes to make them different color, but I wouldn't do that. I'd be too scared. Oh, okay. Brooklyn had visual snow too. Okay. We have 2 people? That's crazy. Look at all of us with our eye stuff. That's crazy. You guys make me feel like so much better because like I mean people are like, like I have visual snow. Like that to me is like that's crazy. Oh wow, Miranda. Wow, you guys all have pretty eyes. I'm getting lost in the eye chat tonight. Look at me. I can't believe we have people with visuals now. So does it so Glowbug, does it come up? I don't know if you answered that. Does it come on like unexpectedly? Or can you like start to feel it kind of coming on to where you have like a warning? Because I'm not trying to work for the defense here or anything like that, right? But if I was the defense, what if he says he was out driving that length of time, but he wasn't really driving. He was pulled over for like a long period of the time because he was having a visual snow episode. I don't know. I just think that, oh man, very unexpectedly. So maybe, I don't know. Oh, man, that would be so scary. That's scary. I wonder if you could have surgery for that. Probably not because of the optic nerves and everything, like the nerves. That's why they like with my vision, I have like there's 6 or 7 muscles for like movement and things of that nature for your eye. They were able to save all of those. They just weren't able to hook all of the millions of, circuits that are in their little, I don't know what they're called, nerves and stuff, veins and nerves. They couldn't hook those back up. So 12 hip surgeries. Oh my lordy. Are you still oh, it crippled you at 40. So you are in a wheelchair probably. Oh, bless your heart. Now I can relate to the wheelchair. Just only for 6 months I was in it. It's all I needed. It's all I needed to have a new appreciation for people that have to use any sort of like mobile device, but especially like a wheelchair. Because people be rude. Like one thing you'll never see me do is go into a public restroom and ever use like the handicap stall. Like just don't even look at it. Unless it's like, someone's in the other one and I have to go. Like I'll go real quick. But it's just those little things I remember going into, like, just going into the restroom and being like, I can't even go because I can't fit my wheelchair in here. Vincent wanted to throw it away a couple weeks ago, and I said, no, that thing's like I don't know. I graduated using that thing. I went from wheelchair to bed to wheelchair to walker. Heck yeah. Keeping that thing. It's like a sacred. Oh, thank you, Shelly, for becoming a member. That's so kind. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much. Oh, so are you in one, Rosie? Because I was in one. I was in one just for a short time, though, 6 months. Well, and then I was back in it for like 3 months, but I actually got out of it in 2 because I couldn't. I can't sit. When it does come for me to be, there will be a time for me to be back in a wheelchair. They're going to have to strap me in it and glue me down because I'm just, I'm a mover and groover. Meta Mom Christy. Oops, forgot to thumbs up, but I did now. Yeah, I have mine. I try not to use it, but I don't use it at all. I just have it just in case. You never know. So the next document here is going to be the defendant's 10 supplemental request for discovery. We're talking a little true crime, little injuries tonight on the channel. Please take note. It just says, that the undersigned pursuant to Rule 16 of the Idaho Criminal Rules, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, 14th Amendments of the Constitution of the United States. I probably could read this without even looking at this point, but it's basically just the defense. They want more discovery. So they're asking for it. And this is the 10th supplemental request. The next one is order to file defendant's exhibit 1 attached to the defendant's 10th supplemental request for discovery under seal. So just another thing under seal. And then the last one is about the or the IGG, I believe. Yeah. So this is for the courts, and it says, based on the order addressing IGG DNA in order for in-camera review filed October 25th, 2023, and the status conference conducted on November 2nd, 2023, the court orders the following. The state shall provide to the court no later than December 1st, 2023, all IGG material pertaining to this case that is in the possession of the FBI and the private laboratory the state contracted with, unless the state demonstrates good cause for an extension of time to turn over requested material. Now, I wonder if, like I said, like the other night with the Post-it notes, like what if they just have a bunch of Post-it notes? Like they're just not very, like, they don't have a lot. Wonder what that would do, because they didn't use that to get the warrant or for the arrest. I'm just wondering how that would work. I would hope it's the FBI. I would hope that they would have like some sort of document system. Like someone's got to be getting paid to put documents, type them up and put them in a computer, or the agents, that's what they do. I know police officers, they do their own, but you would think maybe agents, they'd have someone do it for them. Oh, I hope your talk to text is better than mine. Rosie, mine's awful. I think it's because I have like a I guess I have an accent. I don't see it. I don't hear it. But I do hear it, but I think that's what it is. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this video too. I forgot about this one. So I'll show you this one first. And then we'll watch Nancy. Let me grab a tissue really quick. I feel like there's something just bothering my eye a little bit. I don't know what it is. Weird. Sorry, normally I don't have to do this, but I think it's time for me to get this thing polished. I'll have to tell you guys my story, and I'll have to like take video of whenever I go to the doctors, like just to get like my eye and stuff done and polished, because like they're the most genuine people, their family that own it, and I know that they would let me like take a video. They wouldn't care. I'll be like, I've taught you guys a lot. You could teach me something or teach my people something. Oh, 1 month down, many more to go. I love this channel. Oh, thanks, Melissa. Oh, thank you. Photo copies of my post-it notes on a medical file for court purposes. Oh, I remember reading my medical papers, my medical files. That wasn't fun. Oh, I remember one time my mom moved to this smaller town, and she had been going to this eye doctor, and he told her she had glaucoma, and she believed him. And he had oral medicine. He was seeing her twice a year instead of just the one annual visit. And then she moved into this apartment, and 2 other ladies had glaucoma from the same doctor. Come to find out, he was diagnosing everybody with glaucoma. So if you have glaucoma and his name's Dr. Chester, make sure you get it checked out. Double check. But it was very, very weird. My mom's like, I don't even have glaucoma. She went to another doctor. She's like, I don't even have it. Oh, yeah, I should do that. Mike reminded me about the live chat. I always have to put it on all or something, or all messages, because sometimes I don't see them, I think. Okay, so let's see here. That was the last. Oh, so they want, they said that they want the IgG by December 1st. So we'll see how that goes. I don't see why they wouldn't get it. So I was watching this last night. I was watching News Nation. I always watch News Nation whenever I get off my live, because it's usually just what's on the TV. But Kumo was on here, and he was talking. I don't know if it was Brian Enton's interview. I think it was a part of his interview that he had with the Gonzalez family, if I heard it and I saw it right. But it's just Christy's point of view on what she thinks about having to see Brian in court. Now, if my child was unalived, I wouldn't even be able to go into the courthouse, because I would be arrested. Let's just say that. So she's a better woman than me. Let's just say that. I couldn't imagine. No, I really couldn't though. I couldn't imagine being a parent and just sitting there and not being able to say anything, do anything. And you don't want to show emotion too much. You're trying to be strong. So she just, she hates that Brian gets to, wear a suit, and that he's not like shackled and stuff of that nature. And I kind of agree with her a little bit on it. I mean, it is a little weird to me, because normally we do see defendants in their, jail outfits, jail uniforms, because they're not going in front of a trial or a jury. I mean, it's just, that's a little weird to me. And I will say, there has been times, I remember one time on the show, I forget what I was going to come on and say. I was fired up. I was so fired up about something. I can't remember what that's how important it was, And we watched a video right when I got on it with Christy in it. I don't remember which interview it was, but she calmed me down, and I was like, how'd she do that? I was So she calmed me down. So as we're watching this, I'm actually going to look to see if they have anything on their Facebook in response to anything that's been going on. So, oh, because that's one more thing before we get started with the video. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but there is a person that is out on TikTok. She's trying to say that she's Steve Gonzalez's like other child. I don't know if that's true or not. But I did want to address it. That's a family problem. Like if he has a child and you know they never brought her up and she never came out until now, a year later, that's a family thing, you know what I mean? That's like family business, and I don't want any part of it for right now. I mean, until it's like legit true, and you know, they want to come out and say something about it. Because from what I've heard, this girl was adopted and had like a fine life. Like I heard, that's just what I've heard. So I'm trying to do my research. So just take all that with a grain of salt. If you see it, if you hear it, I saw it this morning, and I could have hopped on and did a 8-minute video, throw some ads in there, but you know what I mean? I was like, this is something like, if that was any of the family members, if that was, you know, let's say Jeff Kernodle had a daughter come out, or, you know, Kara, or, you know, the Chapins, or any of them, it would just be, that's just a family thing, you know? I try not to, I don't want to get too into it. So, but I wanted to address it just because, you know, it's out there, but she's on TikTok and she has it under her name. So, you know, yeah, Nina, I agree. I don't think she should be saying anything, especially her TikTok it's titled like for Kaylee pretty much, but it's talking about Steve the whole time. Like, and herself. I don't know. It just didn't seem like it was for Kaylee to me. Like, I don't know. I just, you know, I don't know. But I don't even get on TikTok. I just happened to see it on, I had a Reddit thing come through today. So I was like, oh, what's this? And I thought it was going to be Autumn, her other sister, Autumn, that's like 18, with the one with the baby. And it wasn't. And I was like, what is this? So I don't know. You think she looks just like him? See, I didn't really see it, but I don't have kids, so you know. Yeah, why did she come out now? That was the thing with me. It was like she came out a year. It's a year. And I don't know if this is like I don't know if she had to get a new account or anything, but the account she's using has only 4 videos, and they're all related to Idaho. So I don't know if she like lost her account, she had to get a new account. I don't know. But I feel like the Gonzalez family has been pretty open about a lot of things. So I feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but they seem like they have like common sense to where, like, put yourself in their shoes. Okay. If Steve had another child, or even if she's an adult, would you not say anything, or wouldn't you bring her forward because you know it's going to come out? I mean, look at the super sleuths of the internet. How did she not get found out before? How did she not get found out beforehand? Yeah, why not? Yeah. Yeah. Are they Facebook groups all over? I don't get on Facebook. I had another thing from Ashley today too. I took a picture of it to show you guys. I'll have to do that on our members or tonight after the live. If you guys, at the end of the live, if you guys don't let me forget. Another thing is said, it was like it wasn't her, but it was her name. It was crazy. Exactly. Like, why would anyone even think of hitting him? Yeah, I don't know, you know, if if it's true, if it's not true, I mean, it just seems a little weird to me. Like, you would think she would have wanted to repair her relationship with her sisters before one of them is unalived. That's just me, though. Wizard Walt, best comment. I'm weary of anything I hear about this case. And I tell you guys too, if you hear something and you're listening and you're like, that doesn't sound right, even if it's me, double check, just Google it real quick because you'll find the answer. You'll find it. See, that's what I heard on the TikTok too, Hawk fan, but I'm just wondering. I didn't really, and I don't want to say anything bad about her because, this is my family and I couldn't imagine if this is true, but I didn't really see any emotion there. Like, it was like she was trying to have like some tears or something. And I just didn't see it, but her name is out there on TikTok. I'm trying to see if I wrote, and it's Samantha. I remember the first. Nelson is the last name. It's out there. It's under, her name's under TikTok. So it's not like I'm doxing her. I had to think of the last name. That was my grandfather's name. So I'm going to play this really quick. And it's just, Kaylee's mother, about how she feels about Bryan Kohberger, just having to see him in court. And it's raw emotion. So, it's sad. Oh, let me turn him up.
Process.
And I love
loss of your child.
I will say that.
Because it's hooked up in this criminal process and it's all about the guy who did it and he's getting the attention, his pictures all over the place. And that's your reality. That is the reality for the families of those 4 University of Idaho students. It's a year now that we're marking when they were murdered. 21-year-old best friends, Kaylee Gonsalves and Maddie Mogen, 20-year-old boyfriend and girlfriend, Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle, all stabbed to death in this notoriously grisly scene inside the girl's home, early morning hours, November 13. A month later, in some amazing investigating, 28-year-old Washington State University criminology teaching assistant Bryan Kohberger arrested. The trial set to begin next year. Tracking it all along, News Nation senior correspondent Brian Enton, and from the right angle, investigatively, of course, but the spotlight in terms of who matters has always been on the victims and their families. And he sat down again with the Gonsalves family. And Brian, I appreciate you staying on it, but just as much, the focus.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really all about the victims' families and what they're going through, and they're not doing well. I mean, they're just not. Kaylee's mom told me that people ask her all the time, "Oh, how are you doing? How are you doing?" Because people don't know what else to say. She says, we're doing good. We're doing good." But she says they're actually not doing well. I mean, they have to deal with this every single day. And not only deal with the grief of losing their daughter, but the ongoing delayed court process. And then they go to the court hearings, Chris, which is just unbelievably painful and disturbing for them because it's such a small courtroom. Listen to what Kaylee's parents told me about having to go to all of these hearings.
The worst part, obviously, is being in the same room with him and know what he has done. It makes me sick that he sits there in his suit and he sits there and taps his hands and you're just sitting there and he, sits there and rocks back and forth in the chair. And I'm thinking, why is he sitting in a big old judge chair and all dressed up in a fresh haircut? And I've looked it up, never seen another murderer or whatever he is convicted up to this point of a case. Not in handcuffs, not in shackles, one or the other, or both, and in orange.
That really bothers
hard for them.
Chris. That really bothers them. That the judge allowed Kohberger to wear that suit and to not be shackled. They don't want to see him like that. They say, okay, for the trial, fine. but they don't like seeing him. They say he almost looks like a business executive sitting there in the courtroom.
Yeah. And what did you take away this time? Because look, you've been following them, you're in contact, you've spoken to them formally before. What stood out to you in this interview?
They're fighters. They're the kind of parents that aren't going to sit back and grieve quietly. They trust the prosecutor, but they also feel like no one is going to fight for their daughter like they can. And they fought to keep that house not torn down. You remember that, Chris? They wanted to tear the house down. And they fought and they fought and they fought. And the FBI ended up going back in the house after they decided to keep the house up, which was a real victory for them. This is what they had to say about that.
I knew in my heart what was best for those girls and Ethan. I knew what was best was to keep that around until they did more. And there'll be a point when I'll be like, you know what, let it go.
That is going to be sad to me. And people think, how can that tear it down? And it's just like, look, my daughter lived a happy life there. Yes, she was murdered there, ultimately murdered. But that was this much time, we have pictures of them in the house. When that house goes, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I thought that
The
was
FBI
interesting,
went
Chris.
back in the house.
A lot of people want to see the house torn down. Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. The FBI went back, you're reporting, right? Recently.
Yeah, they went back. I was out there last week. We had the video. They were going in and out of the house. They did a whole new 3D map of the house, which again is like a victory for the family because they fought to keep the house standing.
Well, they just cut that off, but that's okay because we had already seen that part of the interview anyway. I just wanted to play that shorter clip of Christy because I can understand why she's upset. I mean, I could definitely see why she's upset. I guess they're using, because this is a high profile case. Well, Alec Murdaugh he walked in his yellows. JLR was there yelling, you know what I mean? That's usually what you wear. And whenever you're just going to court proceedings, like motions hearings and stuff like that, before you go to actual trial. So he doesn't look he looks the same to me in a suit as he does in the jail uniform. But I feel like, yeah, he probably should just be wearing the jail clothes. And he probably should be shackled if allegedly he is on trial for unaliving 4 people. Now we're going to say, look at Richard Allen, shackled, chains shackled, always in his jail uniform when he goes, and he's on trial for 2. So I hate that. Mine is just sorry guys. Is that someone talking about you, or does that mean you're getting money? I forget. But I just hate the different states. I hate the different, the way the different states are. I wish that across the board, across the United States, all the states were the same. The laws were the same. The way that they conducted court proceedings was the same. Same websites to go get documents. You know what I mean? Instead of going to Idaho.gov, you can go to Ohio.gov or whatever it is. Whatever have you. So. Oh, you can't get to the place. Are you on your phone, Miss Linda? If you're on your phone, you have to go to Safari and go to the YouTube app. If not, it should take you there whenever I put this link in. But let me know. Because when I hit the link on my iPad, I think it takes me there. And you have to open it in Safari, I think. Jan will help you. Thanks, Jan. Parker. Yeah, the relaxed. I think that's what it is too. It's a little relaxed. It really is. It's a little relaxed. You're right. He opens up his own door. I got this. We're cool. You got Richard Allen with 10, 20 cops around him. Hey, boo thing. Hey, Ashley. It's just, I feel like for one person, it should be, if one person's getting treated a certain way, everybody needs to get treated that way. Now, I'm from Ohio, so I can only go by Ohio laws for the most part, but I just feel like it's kind of like a double standard in a way. I feel like there was something else. There was another. Oh, that's what I was going to look up really quick. I wanted to look that up before I start Nancy. I was going to look up the Facebook page just to see if there's any, maybe they made a comment. Oh, I didn't type it in right. Oh, there it goes. It goes like right to their page if I put it in right. If I just put in like face, yeah. That's how much I get on Facebook. I go straight to the Gonzalez family page. I have like 300 missed dollars. I need to get probably to look at those. Okay, this says. Okay, I'm gonna show you that in a minute. Oh, that's cute. Okay, so we missed a couple pictures. So I'll show you guys these really quick. All this. Okay. So she has this picture here. That's really cute. They have like matching jean jackets on. How adorable. Like seriously. Oh, someone wrote something about it. Oh my gosh, I didn't see that. Okay. Should I look at the comments? I shouldn't get involved. Okay, well the comments are there if you guys want to look at them, but I don't want to get involved. But all 5 of our babies. I thought they had 6. They only had 5. Maybe I was counting Maddie in there too. Because I was thinking they had like a starting basketball team. This is what I was wanting to show you. These pictures here. I thought they were cute. I was going to read this. It's been a very long week and it's only Wednesday. I want to remind you all how grateful we are for the love you all are showing us. I don't know what the days ahead of us will bring. I know it will be extremely painful and we will do our best to get through. Right now, I ask that everyone lifts us up in prayer so we can get through the next week or so. We are all missing Kaylee and Maddie so much. Even though it has almost been a year, it still feels like it just happened. We love you all, and we know you all will be holding us up. I don't know why I know this is just so bad. So much love to all of you. Gonzalez Army of Love. And then we'll look at these pictures. Oh, that's a good picture. Like, look at the way they look, like looking at like Maddie's looking at the baby and then Kaylee's looking at this baby. Like they would have been great. They would have been great moms. So young. I feel so bad for all these families. Look how good Christy looks there. Oh, that's cute. That's a good picture. That one looks like it could be at the corner club. But that's probably the only bar around there, so probably wasn't hard to be there. Kind of reminds me of a bar that we had in my small town. Like everyone goes to the same bar, when you're like a certain age. Oh, those were good pictures. Okay, well, I wanted to show you guys those. Oh, man. That's so sad. Oh, I thought I was on the screen that whole time. I've been looking at the camera. Dang it. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I take the camera away so you guys watch the video, and then I forget to put it back on. So let's go ahead and watch Nancy. I really wanted to come back on last night whenever I got off the live and I saw this was posted. I was like, what? I was like, I want to know what's going on. So I've listened to it a couple times. So I'm going to play this. This is going to be Nancy. If you guys don't mind just taking this, a second to hit the like button, join the channel. Yeah, Jan, I was shocked too when Christy said she had never been to the house. And so that's like one thing with me with the house. Now, I'm just going by my own experience, and it's nothing near, losing my, father compared to a child. I think that's completely different. But I think that she might want it more for sentimental value. Like she might want to go there someday. And like that's something like, I don't know, that's something as a parent. I mean, you can't change your mind on that. You might really want to go and see where your child had lived her life in her college years. But then I think of the Chapin family, and I think of the 2 kids that are still in school, and they're looking at that place every single day. And then I feel awful for them. So I'm really on the fence with this house deal. At first, I wanted it down. I didn't care. I was like, just, you know what I mean? Like, get the evidence out, tear it down, build something like a parking lot, or, you know, something that is lit up for the students. But now I'm just like, I don't know how I feel. It's been there for this long, but if they're not going to go to court or trial for another 2-3 years, they can't afford to have somebody sitting outside of it for $600 a day, a security guard. And they're going to have a security guard, or people are going to break into it. They're going to, that's going to happen. So, heck yeah, Parker. You can send me one of them checks. I'll take one. I'll cash it for you, you know, and I'll send you the money back. Just kidding. I think I would probably have to, I might close my eyes during certain parts, but I think that if it happened, I would want to see everything out, through this case out, you know. The only thing I don't want to see any victims like autopsies or anything. Like I would read it, but I don't want to see pictures. I'm cool with that. I want to remember them the way they were. So, you know, because in some cases they get released. I don't know how that's a thing, but they do. So Nancy is going to talk about the pretty much just what I was kind of going over earlier, but she goes over just like the latest on the case, you know, the court filings, the court hearings and stuff like that. And then she either has like an interview with Kara Kernodle, or Kara Northington, sorry, Xana Kernodle's mom, or she has audio of it. But she talks about it and everything in this video. So we will watch this here, and I'll be in the chat with you guys, chit-chatting it up. So let me see. And then I'll probably pause it here and there. That way we can talk and see what's our thoughts are about stuff. So
why is the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, tearing apart the crime scene of the Idaho 4 slay? Why is that happening? Why is the FBI out in Idaho tearing up carpet, looking at the walls, looking at the windows, taking pieces of board? What are they doing? This, as Bryan Kohberger, the doctoral student charged in the slaying of 4 beautiful University of Idaho students in their sleep or half sleep in the middle of the night, the wee early morning around 4 a.m. while he sits in his cell getting a special vegan diet, watching whatever he wants. He has control of his remote on TV, and gathering female admirers on the internet. What's happening? When is Bryan Kohberger going to trial? And is the death penalty still on the table? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Crime Stories and on SiriusXM 111. First of all, let's kick it off. We've got an all-star panel to make sense of what we're learning right now, but listen first to victim Xana Kernodle's mother.
There are things like in the investigation that I would like to see go differently. I would have liked to see more coming from the kids that attended school there, the people that were at the frat party, the fraternity members. What were they all doing? What was happening at the party before they came home? I really just want, and anybody who was at the grub truck with Kaylee and Maddie, or at the bar with Kaylee and Maddie. I would like to see answers coming from those people. It kind of bewilders me that we haven't heard anything from any of them. because they were the last people to see these kids alive.
You know, I've got such an incredible panel joining us right now, but I want to go first to Gene Fisher, former Chief Deputy Prosecutor in Boise, Idaho. Idaho is this jurisdiction where the 4 murders went down. She specialized in murder, and you can find her today at buildinghopetoday.org. Jane, you're hearing Xana Kernodle's mother, who has lived through complete hell. You know, Jane, I thought I knew it all about grief and suffering when my fiance was murdered shortly before our wedding. But now that I have the twins, John David and Lucy, I didn't know anything, because the worst possible thing that could happen is to lose your child. I'm sure about that. Jane, you hear the mom, you hear Xana Kernodle's mom talking about things that she would like to have seen done differently in this investigation. This is Carrie Northington, and she's focusing on the parties leading up to the murders that night, the fraternity sorority parties. We know that several of the 4 were at a food truck really, really late at night, like after 1 a.m. They stopped to get food at a food truck before they went home. Have you, in your practice, Jane, talked to victims' parents, and you listen to what they're saying, and it may not be relevant to the case? Like, the DNA shows that Bryan Kohberger handled the murder weapon and the sheath, because the sheath has his DNA on it, and it's practically under one of the dead victims. So maybe what Xana's mother is saying is irrelevant. Maybe it doesn't matter who was at the party 5 hours before, who was at the food truck 3 hours before. On the other hand, Jean, maybe it does matter, because Xana's mother thinks 2 people were involved. I don't. She does. But I find the significance, Jean, what if Kohberger was lurking around either of those 2 places? Wouldn't that solidify the case for the state?
Good morning, Nancy. Yeah, I mean, I really feel for her, for the parents, for the survivors in this. And it's so common to have parents, victims asking some of these other questions and wanting to know exactly what she's asking. Who was at the party? Who was at the food truck? Those sorts of things. Because what's happened is unimaginable, and you just want all the answers and everything that you possibly can to understand how this could have happened. Now, as you said, some of that stuff is irrelevant. It isn't as though, it's certainly not here and not nationwide, as you've seen, there hasn't been substantial amount of reporting on this, of law enforcement in the Moscow community, the photos of the girls at the food truck trying to find everybody and anybody who talked to them. And they did do some follow-up, as you recall. They did have and they thought that they had, I think it was the Uber driver, that was the suspect. And I mean, they did do a lot of that.
You're right. And how do you deal with victims' families? I mean, for you and I, we think that is irrelevant because we believe we know who the killer is, and it's not the guy at the food truck, and it's not some drunk frat boy at the whatever house, the Sigma Chi house or whatever house it was. But she's right. We have to exhaust, as prosecutors, every single avenue. What if someone at that party or food truck saw Kohberger? What if they were connected to Kohberger somehow? So I understand where the mother is coming from. I completely understand. As a layperson, especially that's not in the investigation every single day, she thinks, hey, is there relevance? And maybe there is. As of right now, there's not. But you hear Xana's mother speaking out, and later I'm going to let you in on her statements regarding she thinks that there is another person involved. A lot's happening in the case against Bryan Kohberger right now. First of all, there has been a very powerful motion to dismiss the indictment. In other words, throw out the charges. And the judge, whose name coincidentally is Judge, is John Judge, so he's Judge. That's it. I want you to hear what the judge says about the defense's slew of arguments to have these charges thrown out. Listen.
The Idaho criminal rules, specifically Rule 6.5A, expressly states that probable cause is the standard, not beyond a reasonable doubt, for a grand jury's indictment. And I think I have 3 or 4 recent, because this argument has been circulating in the state. I think I've had 3 or 4 district judge decisions denying the motion and the argument. So I am going to deny that argument.
Whew. Okay. Look, we may think that there was no grounds for the charges to be thrown out, but you get one crackpot judge up on the bench, you don't know what they're going to do. I have had judges, one of the times I was held in contempt, the judge was completely ruling against all the black and white letter of the law. And I said, and his name was Judge Presley, may he rest in peace. I said, Judge Presley, just turn around, and right behind you is a bookshelf. And on that bookshelf is the OCGA, the Official Code of Georgia annotated. Not just the code, but the annotations, all the case law supporting the law and the interpretation law. If you would just swivel your chair around and grab OCGA 30-blah, and look on page 356, you'll see that your ruling is completely contradictory to the law. I was held in contempt, but I was right. It didn't feel very good saying I'm right when I was getting fingerprinted. But you never know what a judge is going to do. This judge did the right thing. What were the claims the defense was mounting? And they had a lot of claims. Listen.
Hours of arguments between Kohberger's lawyers, the prosecution, and the judge have occurred in private, behind closed doors, without cameras. But in court papers, Bryan Kohberger's defense team claims the grand jury was biased, there was insufficient evidence to charge Kohberger in the first place, and that prosecutors withheld evidence that would exonerate Kohberger. While the defense has made these serious allegations, they have yet to show any of the evidence to back up their claims.
Joining me right now, an expert who has been at the scene of the crime along with me. In fact, he directed me to a lot of points of interest. And I don't mean like I'm looking at Niagara Falls, that kind of point of interest. I mean, look at this. This proves X. Look at that. That proves Y. Drive this route, not that route. Look over here, not over there. That's what I'm talking about. Chris McDonough is with me, director of the Cold Case Foundation, former homicide detective, at least 300 homicides under his belt, host of a YouTube channel where I found him, The Interview Room. Chris McDonough, how upsetting. It never failed to upset me when the defense would claim, oh, she's withholding evidence, when I had handed over my whole file except for my own work product, my notes, my questions, my own theories. But yet that argument would still be made, and it's a black eye for you, the homicide investigator, and the prosecutor, because it looks like you're playing dirty pool, that you're going to win through nefarious means. And that's no win at all, because it'll be reversed on appeal. We really take the punches in the gut, don't we?
100%, Nancy. And one of the worst things that could ever happen, to your point, is a rogue judge taking all of these points of the law into consideration and even giving them a valued weight. I mean, it's every family's nightmare. It's every prosecutor's nightmare, the investigator, public safety's nightmare, that the defense is able to say, hey, they still are not giving us evidence, when in fact, they've turned over all the evidence under Brady to the defense, and they know what they have. It's right in front of them. And I think this is the big push that's taking place right now, and we're just going to, like always, just see how this kind of plays out here.
Well, bottom line, you don't sign up to be a homicide investigator or a prosecutor to win Miss Congeniality, Chris McDonough. Nobody's going to go home crown Miss Sweet Potato. That's not happening. We are going to take the hits and keep on going. I mean, listen, if I paid attention to everything that's said about me or our program on Twitter and Facebook and Insta and wherever, I'd be hiding under the bed right now. Just, if you don't have a thick skin, you better develop one, and quickly. Guys, not only in the last days has the judge denied the defense motion to throw out the charges, the FBI has been back at the murder scene. Some call it the murder house. It's the crime scene. The FBI has been back sniffing around and tearing apart sections of the home, including yanking up carpet and more. Take a listen to our friends at Crime Online.
FBI agents have entered the King Road home in Moscow, Idaho, hoping to gain more information as the prosecution prepares for trial. According to NBC News, the University of Idaho says investigators asked to go back into the home and gather documentation as they construct visual and audio exhibits, as well as a physical model of the home. Experts say this will help as the prosecution explains where evidence was found and why the placement of said evidence is important. Families of the victims have worked hard to prevent the King Road structure from being torn down as was originally planned. The family of Kaylee Gonzalez and the father of Xana Kernodle said they were grateful the university is waiting until after the trial to demolish the home because it remains the biggest piece of evidence.
I want to circle back to Dr. Angela Arnold, a renowned psychiatrist, joining us about why the victims' families may not want this home torn down. But first, I want to talk about something that I understand, and that is the probative value of this home. Do we still need the home? Why do we need the home? What, if anything, can it prove? It's been combed over with a fine-tooth comb. So why do I care that it's not torn down? Well, for one reason, correct me if I'm wrong, joining me, Dave Mack, crimeonline.com investigative reporter. The house was to be demolished, but that's been delayed, especially since Kohberger waived his right to a speedy trial.
Correct.
Now, this delay, I believe, has allowed prosecutors and investigators to create a very detailed 3D model of the home, and that could potentially spare jurors a visit to the crime scene that was left literally, quote, dripping in blood. You know what? I would want them at the crime scene, but that's just me. I would want them to see the real thing. But I would also like, Dave Mack, that 3D visual in court for me to use as demonstrative purposes. That's in the law. You've got demonstrative evidence, and you've got, as I call it, real evidence. Real evidence is like fingerprints, DNA, things taken from the scene. Demonstrative evidence is evidence you create to demonstrate something to the jury. Dave Mack, tell me about why is the FBI sniffing around the King Road address?
Well, Nancy, they're building, as you mentioned, the models, okay, the 3D model. And the real issue here is it's a 3-story house on King Road. And for some people, including Xana Kernodle's mom, they just don't see how one person can accomplish all that happened, stabbing to death 4 people in that building in a very brief period of time. What the FBI is doing by building this model, they're going to be able to the prosecution will be able to walk the jurors through it one by one and show them how it could be done and was done by one person, they believe, Bryan Kohberger. They'll be able to show them with that model exactly where he came in, where he went, the timetable they built inside the house, and how he exited. They'll be able to do all that with this 3D model. That's why they're there.
That's going to be some 3D model, because you know what the defense is probably going to do?
Nancy,
The defense is probably going to turn around and ask to take the jurors to the crime scene. And so help me, I would not be trumped by the defense. If anybody was going to demand a visit to the crime scene, it would be me, the prosecutor. And you know why? Because I would want the defense to be able to argue in closing arguments. They didn't want you to see the crime scene. We did. What were they hiding? No, 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 and no. Who's that jumping in?
Gene.
Is that Gene? Gene
It was
Fisher?
Gene.
Jump in.
Yep. Well, you have to remember too. I really don't believe that this case is going to take place in Latah County in the small community in Moscow, Idaho. Boise is 300 miles south and 6 hours on a mountain road. Idaho Falls, which is maybe the next biggest, is 10 hours. North of Moscow's Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai County, it's quite small. So, I mean, there are some of those issues as well, quite frankly, as far as the crime scene and getting back up there, and what that actually would
Okay, let me
entail.
ask you a lightning round. Has the venue been changed yet, Gene Fisher?
No, because they still haven't set the case for
They're not
trial.
going
Is
to. I don't
there
think
a
so.
motion to change venue?
They're not going to change that
There
venue.
won't be one until the case gets set for trial.
So, no. So let's burn
No.
that bridge when we get there. But you're right. If the trial is moved, say, 5 hours away, it would not be expedient to take the jury 5 hours away to see the crime scene. That is why I predict if they do get a motion to change venue, it will be moved maybe 3 hours or less away so the jury can go see it in one day and return. Now, of course, we learned that visiting a crime scene is fraught with danger and reversible error, because when you see the crime scene, it's not the same as it was the day of the crimes. Number one, that can be argued on appeal. You don't know if somebody will be standing outside. How easy would it be for some jackass to yell out, Kohberger did it, or Kohberger's innocent, or something, and that could ruin the whole case and be grounds for a motion to dismiss the case and get a whole new jury. So when you take people to a crime scene, you never know what's going to happen. And dare I remind everybody on the panel, when my colleague, Johnny Cochran, may he rest in peace, took the O.J. Simpson jury to the O.J. Simpson home, and they had completely done it over. No more pictures of O.J. with busty models around. There were pictures instead of a Norman Rockwell painting and him with his mother, and I think a giant cross was put up on the wall. You don't know how that scene's going to be altered by the time the jury gets there. So Dr. Angela Arnold joining me, as I mentioned earlier, a renowned psychiatrist. You can find her at angelaarnoldmd.com. Dr. Angie, there may be more at play with the victims' families not wanting the home to be torn down. Now, as I've told you before, I have never once sought out the spot where my fiance was murdered. I don't want to go there. Whenever I think about it, sometimes it still gives me a horrible, like a migraine headache. And I don't want to go there. I don't want that in my head with everything else. But the significance of this home, I don't know what it means to the four victims' families.
Well, Nancy, right now it stands as a sort of a shrine to what happened. And this isn't over. I mean, the trial hasn't even started yet. And I imagine what it signifies to the family is this: if the house is torn down and demolished, it's over. Where this happened is over. And
like it never happened.
Exactly. And the man hasn't even been brought to trial. I mean, I find it very disturbing that they want to tear the house down. But there also doesn't need to be a jump that goes from let's not tear the house down to, oh, we're going to bring the jury there. But I think the house needs to stand as the place where this happened.
I hear is that Dr. Monty Miller?
No, that was Chris.
Chris McDonough, you're saying you agree. And Dr. Angie, I can't explain to you why I don't want the house torn down yet. Maybe something along the lines of it as if it never happened, or
exactly.
Plus,
just not right, Nancy.
I mean, to you, Chris McDonough, Director of Cold Case Foundation. I'm going to circle back to Dr. Monty Miller and Dr. Michelle Dupree joining us. Chris, it ain't over until it's over, and I don't want any destruction of evidence until this thing is over.
Yes, and what I think what's happening right now, Nancy, there is why the FBI went back. And let's just talk about a couple of things real fast. Is one, they're doing a laser recreation, right, to create this 3D model, and that's called a FARO, F-A-R-O. That's the device that they use. But what else they're doing is
you just hey.
Yeah.
FARO, explain that, please. Don't just throw something out and drop it on us like a bomb and not explain it.
Sorry about that. Well, what this device does is it spins in a room, and it can literally go down to an exact, dimension within an eighth of an inch. And so it'll basically mirror everything within inside of that room. But the other test that they're running in there, I would assume, is an acoustics test. And they're going to correlate that back to any video that may have been in the neighborhood if there was sound on that video. And they're going to correlate that to the exact spot of where that sound would have originated inside of that house. So to tear that house down right now, to the doctor's point, and I know you talked about this early on, I think that would be a very huge mistake ultimately until the trial is completed. And at that point, let it be what it needs to be.
I know the state thinks they've gotten everything that they need, and the defense has had the same opportunity as the state to inspect the home, but I would rather them wait till it's all over. Dr. Monty Miller joining me, director, forensic DNA expert. You can find Dr. Monty at forensicdnaexperts.com. Dr. Monty Miller, I believe they've gotten all the DNA evidence that they're going to get. Once you let a lot of people in the home, evidence is ruined. They've gone through the home with a fine-tooth comb. But what is your take on whether they should demolish the home?
Well, I mean, just from a crime scene DNA perspective, you wouldn't want to destroy it because you don't know if you're going to need that house again. The defense could raise issues, the prosecution could raise issues, and at this point, you can always go back and look at it. Once you demolish it, you can't, and there's no real benefit to having it destroyed at this point. So why not just keep it till the trial's over?
Guys, a lot happening in the case right now, but I want you to hear more. We've had the motion to dismiss by the defense has been denied. We have the FBI swarming the crime scene again. Now, listen to this.
Yeah, no, I don't want them to. Not until after the trial. I mean, for obvious reasons. I mean, obviously the jurors would maybe want to do a walkthrough, or, maybe there's something they missed. I mean, obviously, yeah, I definitely do not want them to tear it down. Not yet. Eventually, yes, but not until this is all blown over.
You're hearing Xana Kernoble's mother, Karen Northington, agreeing with us. Don't tear that house down. Now, her feelings, I don't know if they're based in the evidence or if they're based in emotions, but she wants the house standing. Let's move forward. Listen.
Bryan Kohberger's defense team now wants to know exactly how DNA was collected at the crime scene that prosecutors say places Kohberger at the scene of the crime. The term IgG stands for investigative genetic genealogy, and it was this process that was used to collect DNA from another source and then match it to the DNA found on the knife sheath that was found on the bed next to the bodies of Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogen. The sheath was found face down, partially under Madison Mogen's body and partially under a comforter on the bed. The DNA found on the sheath was initially compared to DNA from trash recovered outside the Kohberger family home in Pennsylvania last year. Using IgG allowed investigators to build a family tree of potential relatives of the suspect. Once a cheek swab from Bryan Kohberger was obtained, investigators used a more direct DNA comparison using technology similar to that employed by services like Ancestry.com or 23andMe.
Okay, Dr. Monty Miller with us, famed DNA expert. Dr. Monty, explain, and also if you could give us, dummy down for me. I'm just a trial lawyer. You're the scientist. Explain IgG and what are they talking about?
So what happens is in criminal investigations and with criminal DNA that's typically used in court, they use one kind of technology to read the DNA. A completely different kind of technology is used for the Ancestry, the IgG type DNA. And so what they did was they took the DNA and they ran it for Ancestry in order to, develop the suspects. And they used that to identify Kohberger as one of the suspects. Then they collected trash from the house to connect it to Kohberger's father, and they could tell from that the DNA, at that point, when they identified that it was probably a son of the father, they were able to get DNA from Kohberger himself, compare it to the DNA by traditional genetic forensic means, and they were able to identify him that way. So the genetic genealogy, the IgG stuff, was used to find him. That's not what was used to identify him as the person in the house. But the same DNA was used, but it was used first for genetic genealogy to find him, and then it was run a separate way, a different time, by different technology to identify him as the source of that DNA.
At this juncture, the state is claiming they're not going to use IgG, that type of DNA process, at trial. But the reality is, if the questions are asked on cross, it will come into play. To Dr. Michelle Dupree joining us, a forensic pathologist, medical examiner, former detective in Lexington County, author of Money, Mischief, and Murder, The Murdaugh Saga, the rest of the story, and she literally wrote the book, Homicide Investigation Field Guide. Dr. Dupree, weigh in.
Nancy, I think I understand it sort of from both sides, but keeping the house, especially right now, is so important because things could have been missed. And I think that they need to go back and be able to, I would want the jury there. I'm totally with you. I would want the jury to see this. But if you're the defense attorney, I guess you wouldn't.
I don't know. I think the defense may be able to argue all sorts of things once the jury gets in that home. Big question, is the jury going to see the home? A lot of rulings that are going to impact this case are happening right now. Listen.
The DNA matching Bryan Kohberger to the knife sheath could be the prosecution's strongest piece of evidence tying Kohberger to the murders. KTVB reports Kohberger's lawyers claim they need the information about the DNA collection to help prepare their defense. But the prosecution says they did not use IgG to obtain any warrants, and they're concerned about innocent relatives' identities being made public. Judge John Judge said he will consider the interests of the defense and the prosecution as he reviews all of the IgG information the state and the FBI have, and then he will decide what can be disclosed.
This is what's happening. The state has used IgG science to narrow down potential suspects. A well-established buccal or buccal swab was used to positively identify Bryan Kohberger. Kohberger was already identified by his car. Isn't that correct, Dave Mack? So the state could have gone forward without the IgG test at all, based on the car being probable cause, right?
They were able to track, yes, that you're absolutely right, Nancy. They had other means of going about this, which is what they're pointing out now. They're saying that this IgG stuff is irrelevant. It's not part of our case. It was just a tool, but they had other ways of identifying him. As you mentioned, the car, it is the perfect, it actually puts him where he needed to be in terms of what the prosecution is looking at. So you're dead on right. They had other ways of going after Kohberger besides the IgG. They're just using all the tools in the toolbox.
Guys, the case is culminating. The case is rapidly moving toward trial. When will the trial date be? We all know that once the death penalty is announced, then the delay will be even longer. Take a listen to our friends at Crime Online.
The parents of Kaylee Gonzalez recently spoke out about the death penalty for the murder of their daughter and 3 others. Steve Gonzalez said they wanted the death penalty rather than a life sentence, and he mentioned how BTK, Dennis Rader, gets special treatment in prison because he's smart. He writes papers for other inmates. But a death penalty sentence would put the killer in a cell 23 hours a day, waiting, regardless of how long it takes before there is an execution.
In the midst of all of this, one of the victim's mother has been forced into the position of defending her daughter's reputation. How is a beautiful young girl who was murdered, half asleep or fully asleep, somehow become the target of derision and false rumors? Listen to Kara Northington defending her daughter.
I think there's a lot of rumors going around that she was a drug dealer, or this was somehow like a cartel hit because she owed the cartel money. That's just not true. She wasn't a drug dealer. She was going to school. She had a job. She was working. She was doing all the right things. You know, she wasn't on drugs or dealing drugs. She did like to party. She was in college. She drank with her friends and partied, but it wasn't anything like drug dealing or anything like that. So I think those rumors just really, those are what I would say have wronged her.
I don't understand it, why crime victims, as young and innocent as these four are being dragged through the mud. Dr. Angela Arnold, to top it all off, here you hear the parents of these victims having to defend the reputations of their children. Who are these trolls attacking the victims?
It's hideous. It's absolutely hideous, Nancy. I believe that people start rumors for a lot of different reasons. And one of the reasons is so that they can feel like, well, if I have never done that, if I have never participated in that kind of activity, or if my children don't do that, then they're less likely to be murdered. So there's a reason why she was murdered. It's the most hideous thing in the world to all of a sudden create a story about a victim.
As if this teen girl was murdered because she's part of the cartel. Of course, Xana had just turned 20, and she's connected to a Colombian drug lord. It's insane.
Right. And Nancy, okay, and so what if she parties? Kids are supposed to party when they're in college, and you're supposed to have a good time. And so this girl gets murdered, and now people are going to say ugly things about her. Why weren't they saying ugly things about her previous to this, if she was such a hideous person?
I mean, Chris McDonough, you have investigated so many homicide cases. This is straight out of the defense playbook. Attack the victim. Don't look at my client. Look at the victim. They're horrible. And you could not find any more beautiful and precious college students than these four. So what if she had a couple of drinks? Nobody cares. She was slaughtered in her sleep. Where's the...
I will say, I think that all stems from Kara's connection to, her having problems with, narcotics and stuff, or drugs. And I think that's where that stemmed off from. And then people just went wild with it. So, oh, no, you didn't, Matt. No, you didn't. Not at all. So that's why, that's just where I kind of got it from, because that's when it all started coming out. And you can clearly tell that, and I'm not saying this in any sort of bad way, but you can clearly tell that Xana and her mom, they live two different lives. So it would be kind of, okay, so if Xana were to want to get into drugs, wouldn't she go to her mom? Help me get into it. Help me get into the business. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why she didn't have that relationship with her mom, because she wanted to stay away from drugs. She probably smoked some pot. If you didn't smoke a little bit of weed when you were in college, then I don't know. I think everybody tried something when they were in college, a little weed, drinking something. And I think that's what they were doing. So
this is coming from. And isn't it true you see it in practically every homicide case?
Yeah, but I think we're at a different point here, Nancy. I mean, and the civility of what's taking place here in our society. This is just an example of it. This poor mother, when we hear her heartfelt pleas about defending the reputation of, her daughter, what's her crime? Her crime is she went to bed that night and she was in her bedroom. And yet this poor mother, and I know that feeling, I know the depth of that feeling.
To you, Gene Fisher, veteran trial lawyer, that always happens. Is it right? No, it's horribly wrong. And it always happens. Blaming the victim somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time, but I think in this case, it has really, it's really bad. I mean, some of the things that have been written and said about the victims in this case, even the surviving victims. I mean, it's one thing that they're attacking the victims, but they're also really attacking the surviving victims and coming up with these wild stories. And I think the comment about the lack of civility really does show a really sad state of where we are right now in our nation, quite frankly.
As long as I can remember, as far back as I can recall trying cases, the victims are always attacked. I don't think it's anything new. It's always happened, and it's always been horrible. Listen to more of Xana's mother, now in the position of having to defend her murdered daughter. Listen.
Well, Xana was an amazing girl. She was really funny. She was fun to be around. She always made sure everybody around her was having fun. She was just very happy, go lucky person. She loved her friends, loved her family very much. She's very dedicated to everything she did. She was just an amazing person.
I hate
full of life.
I hate that the mother is in this position where she feels like she has to defend her murdered daughter's reputation. Some world-class a-hole is spreading false rumors about Xana and the other victims and the survivors. But Xana's mother has come up with a very unique theory. Listen.
To me, it seems like more than one person did this in such a short amount of time. The time frame that they're giving, there's just no way that one person could have done it. So I think that if he is responsible, that he had help.
So trying to figure out who would that other person be. To Dr. Monty Miller, this is why the DNA is so important. No other identifiable person's DNA is at the scene other than Kohberger's.
Well, they did find some DNA from some other people, but they weren't able to identify it. That was a house that other people were in. It wasn't isolated with just the residents in there. So it's natural that you would find DNA from other people that were in that house, but they weren't able to identify it. So they wouldn't be able to know whether or not some of the other DNA was attached to the crime or whether it was just attached to somebody visiting. That's different with the knife sheath, where that was clearly something that was probably a part of the crime and had the DNA from whoever brought that knife there. The other thing is that I wanted to bring up about the DNA. Testing. Part of what they may be looking for too is did they develop any other suspects other than Bryan Kohberger? So they want to know, do we have any value in that information for us to find somebody else rather than our client? So there's a lot going on with the DNA here, more than you would think. And they certainly are going to try to identify any of the DNA that they found in that house, but they don't necessarily have a connection to the crime with any of the other DNA.
Exactly. Where the other DNA was found, I believe, is nowhere near the dead bodies, but we'll see. And Dr. Michelle Dupree, forensic pathologist and expert isn't it true that the wounds on the victims' bodies indicate one type of weapon?
Yes, Nancy, that is true. And we can often tell that, of course, by the wounds themselves.
How do you do that with knife wounds? This is very critical because it's right to question the evidence. Xana's mother's correct. You've got to test every piece of evidence, see what it proves or disproves. And she should wonder, was there more than one person? As far as I can evaluate the evidence and analyze it, it seems like there's one person. But you have to test the evidence. So what do the wounds prove, if anything?
Well, we measure them. We measure the wounds, and then we can actually make a cast or a mold of the wounds many times, and then we can compare that to a cast made from the actual weapon itself. And they're very similar, or similar enough that we can say that it is the same weapon.
Justice moves forward as we wait for the trial of Bryan Kohberger. Goodbye, friend. Guys, thank you for watching Crime Online with Nancy Grace here on YouTube.
Okay. No, Arlene, I don't. I thought I had something else pulled up here, but I guess I didn't. Let me see if there's anything else out. But I wanted to get you guys, when I saw that Nancy came out with the video, I was like, I can't believe. I mean, even if Nancy did take the clips from YouTube, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking in my mind right now that Nancy Grace, because she's like has her YouTube channel, that she's getting like a copyright strike. And Nancy's probably like, yeah, right. I don't know. That just kind of made me laugh because I was just thinking, I was picturing Nancy's face like when I usually pause her and she's like rolling her eyes or something. But yeah, no, Nancy's always good with me whenever I play her, so I love it. Let's see here. So, I was going to look on, yeah, 2 perpetrator doubling the risk. Yeah, no, I don't think that there was 2. I think there's just 1. Because I do agree. I agree with, like, I think that it would have been too messy. I think that they would have been caught. I also believe if this is Bryan Kohberger that did this, which, I mean, that's where the evidence is going, he wouldn't have wanted to share that moment. You know, I just don't think that he would have wanted to share that, because that's something that if you think about, that's something that he was studying for a long time to know about, just, the workings of the criminal justice system and how crimes occur. He would have to give all of his knowledge to somebody else and then train that person to be like them. I don't know. I just think that it would be just too messy with 2 people, but I don't know. I was going to see if there was anything on Twitter, but I wanted to also check to see if there was anything on Chelsea's case for you guys before we got off here. But I don't think that there's going to be much coverage in her case anymore, which really sucks. And if you guys aren't following me over on Twitter, you can. It'd be great. I do tweet out. I try to tweet out, when there's like live, like anything that's going on. If it's something that, I can tweet out without having to do like a full video and, waste your guys' time with the whole video, then I try to just tweet it out. But I usually will put everything on the community tab as well. So, and Nancy, or yeah, was it? It was Kumo. Kumo said like that there's like girls coming out like for Bryan and stuff, and I was just laughing because I was like, yeah, yep, there are. Oh, I think Doodlebug was telling me about this. Wasn't that you, Doodlebug? If you're still in here, about you said something like Court TV was having a special on Bryan Kohberger on Sunday. I see it. We'll have to play it. They're usually pretty cool with me. This is 2 hours ago. Okay, I already read you those, so. Okay. People are being rude about the Gonzalez family putting that video out there. Well, they're allowed to have an opinion on what they think Bryan should be wearing. So I was trying to see if there was anything else, but I don't see anything. Just little things of people. Yeah, I don't see anything else. But I do want to check for Chelsea Grimm, because you just never know. You never know. Like, I don't know. The last time that we talked about Chelsea Grimm, they were calling in the child, like, sex trafficking or something like that, like the organization. But that's all. People are picking it up. They're picking up the story, but it's like there's just nothing going on. Okay, well, that really stinks, guys. Do you guys have any questions for me? Oh, it was you? Oh, Sophie's one. Thanks. Oh, I couldn't remember. I knew it was someone that's in our chat a lot. Doodlebug's like, not me. Doodlebug, you changed your picture. It's not a picture anymore. I just noticed that. I notice things sometimes a little late. I'm a little late. Xana's fabulous in my opinion. Or Xana was, in my opinion, was fabulous, especially because of what she dealt with her mom. She was a very strong girl in every way. Yeah, Mercy, I believe that. I agree. Something about her eyes. I've always liked her eyes. And it's probably, I look at people's eyes, and there's just something about her eyes. They're beautiful, but they're like pure. I don't know. They're just like, you can tell she was a good person. You could tell all these kids were good. I mean, really. They were good kids. And we've never seen a case, I guess, this big. And I guess that's why there's just so much. And it's sealed too. So, that doesn't help. But we've gotten a lot more, I feel like, from this case, like document wise, than we have from like Delphi. And we've been covering Delphi since November 2022 as well. So if you look, because if there was more documents out for Delphi, we'd be, like we would be talking about them and stuff too. But my playlist is like my Idaho, I have 256 videos. And then my Delphi, I have like 26 or something. So. Oh, thank you, Matt. Have a good night. Have a good night, everybody. That's everyone that was leaving. Oh, yes. Holly said, just want to share, Tanya, I think about if you are live or not every day. Oh, about this time. That's good. I like that because you guys come and check on me if I'm not live, and I love that. Because y'all, if it wasn't for you guys and Vincent, no, if something happened to me, nobody would even know. But you guys, I took a day and a half off, and this was back when Idaho was starting to get to me. It was just all starting, it was starting to get to me. It was a lot of huge lives with a lot of conspiracies and and I would shut down the live on everything. I would see a comment and I'd be like, no. So I needed the break. I took like a day and a half off. That's all I took. But it felt like I took a week off. And when I came back, I felt so much better. I was refreshed. I felt good. Felt like I was myself again. Ashley does. She sends emails. She's like, what's going on? Now I have a couple of you guys. You guys will reach out and say, are you going live tonight? Or, I always make my thumbnails late. If you guys saw what I did during the day, I have time to make my thumbnails, but I don't. Because the way that my brain works is I'm OCD and I have ADHD. So it's like a double threat. So when I wake up in the morning, my house can be spotless. My house is extremely orderly because I'm blind and everything has to have its spot. But when I wake up in the morning, my brain goes to this like, you're at work, like clock in mode. And I have to do certain things before I can even do like anything for my channel. Like, vacuum, mop, dishes, just simple things like that. But it's like, but they don't even really need done because I do it. Like when there's a dirty dish, it goes right in the dishwasher. Like there's not much to do, but I just do it anyway. It's my thing. And then I'll change like the trash around the house. It's like my side work. I know I don't have to do it. I have a robotic vacuum that I've used probably 5 times. I love to vacuum. It's my thing. See, Candy, we are very similar. She said, I have to clean up before I start working on anything. That's me. That's me. I'm like, and even if I try to do it at night, like I'll try to do it at night, like I'll sweep and I'll like, even if it doesn't need done, I'll sweep or something. And then I wake up and it's like, did these animals have a party last night? Like there'll be hair everywhere. And I'm like, what were they doing? They sleep when we sleep. I vacuum 2 to 3 times a day too. I like to vacuum. Oh, speaking of which, I have to vacuum out the door because there's glass out there that somebody dropped. Yeah, I can't go to bed with dishes in the sink. I'm just like, I think that Rosie, I think I'm going to do a live. Maybe I'll do it this week on just like my accident and everything. And then you guys can ask me any of the questions you want. So I'm literally an open book. You guys will learn if you haven't been in the chat very long. I don't care. I mean, 10 years ago when I had my accident, I'd say like the first 2 years, I really, really, really cared. And then, no, I'd say actually, I'm gonna lie. I lied till 2020. So probably about a good 7 years I cared. And then COVID happened and we had to wear masks. So I had to push my hair out of my face because I would always have my hair like parted and like, I don't know how I would do it, but it didn't look like that. But it would be like parted more to the side. And I couldn't do that because then I couldn't see out of my other eye. And that's what started me to feel more comfortable. So now I talk about all of it, which I talked about all of it before. I'm an open book. We have a Samsung, I think, a little Samsung one. I love it. And Vincent got me this I'm gonna have to do like a TikTok of this thing. It's like an industrial steamer. I mean, it is like legit. He got me a bunch of cleaning stuff for Christmas, and I was like, if I show this to people, they're gonna be like, your boyfriend's the worst. But it's what I wanted, and it was the best gifts ever. I was so excited. He actually got a lot of stuff last Christmas. He got us a new bed and everything. See, we're all like that. We're all a bunch of clean freaks over here too. I think I get it from my mom too. She was OCD. My grandmother was OCD. And then top it off with blindness. If things don't go back in its spot and I can't find it, all of a sudden I get like almost mad at myself. Like I'm like, where did you sit it? Like, and I'm like, I'm hard on myself. So I always make sure I put things back. And Vincent is super good. Like I'm doing that as well, because I could really fudge up a relationship. What was it? Is it the person from are we talking about the visual or something? Where were they? Where were they at? Look, going back up. So. Oh, thanks, Rhonda. I look forward to seeing you guys too. Oh, no, he didn't attend the memorial, but there is a gentleman. There was actually, I think, 2 guys that looked like him. But yeah, it was kind of debunked. See, and that's what's happening too. That's what's going to happen. I told you, I'll mark my words. Once November 13 hits, what was the Jack Showalter? That was the first. I'll admit that first night we watched that food truck video, I said, what's going on with him? But the same night, I said, well, he walks the other way. But I think what it's going to do is it's going to come back full circle and new creators are going to come out and say, look what I found. The girls were with this guy with a hoodie. He did it. And we're all going to be over here, the OGs that have been here since day one. And we're going to be like, no, that was debunked, in November. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen. I'll always keep them. Oh, I don't have. Yeah, I think I do have irretractable pain. I think I do. I thought that word sounds very familiar. Arlene, I know I fold all the clothes here. I actually have some to fold out in the living room. I'm kind of excited about it. Oh, she did? She started posting last year, Pat? Wow. Now I wonder, because I've heard that she was like adopted and stuff. So I'm wondering if she's feeling some sort of like a guilt that she didn't, maybe because you always think you have more time. So maybe she, if this is true, maybe she is feeling some type of way because she didn't reach out and then this did happen to Kaylee. I mean, I could see that, but I don't know. It's just weird. My dad was military and a total a-hole. My dad was not military and he was an a-hole. I'm just kidding. He wasn't. Yes, me too, Catherine. I was, yeah. At least we knew as soon as that happened. I don't remember us ever like going after, like being like, there was people that were pointing arrows down to where Jack DeCour lived and then telling them their subscribers to go get him. Like, I was like, what? When I saw that, I was livid. I probably have a live on it somewhere. Go check out my old Idaho lives. I used to get a little feisty in there. She says something about, Steve asked her to take it down. Maybe it's something that they just don't want to bring up at this moment because of everything. I don't know. You can definitely tell that Steve loves Christy. He makes sure that she's okay, and she does the same for him. I know one interview last year, it was one of their first interviews. It was outside of the police station when Steve gets really mad. And she goes like this to him. She goes, calm down, honey. And he did. And, they're good. All of these families are doing the best that they can to get by. But I feel like that a lot of the time this will break families up just completely because it's earth shattering. But all of these families that, were together and everything, they all are together or they're closer, it seems like, than they were. So. Oh, Rosie, that's so nice. I like that you were able to do that. She's going to be loving that. Y'all can come clean my house if you like. I'm one of those people. I would do so good. I would thrive in that. I thought about maybe doing my other channel on something like, I don't know, like more like, just like, I don't know, like life hacks and like little, like more relaxed stuff, or maybe even do more trauma over there. And we could make it a trauma channel. It could be like TitaniumBuilt something else, like, with a name in it. But I don't know. Because I like doing other things too, just because it's something out of true crime. And it makes my head feel a little better. Man, I don't know if it sounds like Boo talking to me. She tells me to calm down 100 times a day. Vincent's like that with me. If I do really well. What I do is I'm not saying anything about Philadelphia people because they've got my heart. That's where I'm from. But I don't know if it's something about like living there, being born there, but you're born with like a little bit of a short fuse. I don't know what it is because all my family's from there. So I'm just based off my family and my friends from there, but we don't really take a whole lot. What our thing is, actually, we take a lot until we can't take anymore. You know what I mean? And then that's when you'll hear the Jersey accent come out of me. I'll be saying coffee. I mean, it'll come out. Y'all will hear it. Put me on the phone with Arlene. for 5 minutes and I can get on the live and I'd probably sound just like I'm from the East Coast. Because my family, whenever I'm around them, I get that accent back. But, you know, very short. But I always try to keep it safe over here. I want to keep this a safe, calm, relaxed chat. I don't care if we have 20 people in here or 1,000. As long as it's cool, calm, I'm good with that. Rosie. Yeah, I hope Rosie does too. Folding channels? No, ALR. I've been trying to learn how to fold a fitted sheet the right way. I know how to do it, but it always looks weird. And I'm like, did my grandma have a different trick to this? You should see. I'm gonna have to show you guys my For You page one day. Like, I think people think I don't know, watched a bunch of true crime, but I do for my channel. But whenever you see it like at this time of night, it's like scary videos, dog or cat videos. Let me just see. I can just tell you. I can tell you, it's so funny. Nancy Grace. Dang it, Nancy. She's just giving me more content, you know, because she's my best friend. They're talking about, I've been wanting to go back and talk about the Jared Bridegan case because Xana Gardner, the alleged mastermind of his killing unaliving, she got a new lawyer and she got Jose Baez. It's about to get real quick. I know, Nancy's our second mother. I know. And you know where I actually got Nancy Grace from? Because I've always watched Nancy ever since I was a little girl. I remember at least 9 years old, OJ Simpson. But what was I going to say about Nancy? I've been watching her for a long time. I don't know. But she's always going to be here. She's a staple. She's a staple of the channel. But I do need to think of a really cool, like cute TikTok to do with her. Because I think it's, be funny. DB tab. No, she wasn't. Unfortunately, she wasn't familiar with anything when she went on her first interview. It was sad. Oh, I do. Whenever I'm on like TikTok, I like to look at the organizational videos. I'm an organizational girly. Like, if y'all need any help organizing anything at all, just be like, I should just show you the drawers in my kitchen. It's so bad. They're so organized. It's so bad, but it's so good. We just have to get like the furniture and stuff. He is News Daddy, that Bryan Kohberger. Rosie, yes. Rosie said YouTube needs to crack down on the IRL bots, doxing, threats, etc. It's like we are back in junior high school with the drama, conspiracies, and fighting. I didn't even do this in junior high school. I was that girl that was friends with everybody because I didn't like controversy because of the fact that I just didn't like it. I don't like it. And my thing is I've had so much truly things happen to me that should have broke me more times than I can count. And I'm positive and I'm still here. And I'm thankful for that. I hope that, the drama goes away, but it's everywhere on YouTube. I've seen it. I mean, not even on true crime. Everywhere. Yeah, Nancy ain't ever going to go nowhere. That's what I was going to tell you guys. So the first place I ever saw Nancy on YouTube was Ickamil. And he did a podcast of hers. And I was like, that's Nancy Grace. And so he still does podcasts with Nancy Grace. But that's where I was like, oh my gosh, that's Nancy. I loved Nancy growing up. So now I got to do like a cool TikTok with her. I got to make people believe that she's real, you know? Oh. Well, thank you guys all for being here. You guys are the best. Bullets, Beauty, Brawn, and Bling. I love that. I love that name. I love that name. Man, I like you guys have some good names. I need to think of maybe a different name for my channel, my other channel, like my second channel. And then do some like fun stuff over there too. It looks like she's asking if she wants coffee. She is. I was just going back up in the chat a little bit. Steve, you're right. We have a good chat here. We really do. We really, 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 really do. Cool, calm, collected channel we are. I really try to be. You know, when you're a creator, and I didn't really ever think about this before, because I'm a small creator, and I didn't realize that like, and I've seen this, and this isn't me. I've seen this throughout like my time on YouTube, but I've seen like creators get attacked, whether there's like a reason or not a reason to, but just to attack people, just to, like, I guess, gain more subscribers. And I just wouldn't want to gain subscribers off of like a drama beef with like something, you know, someone. I just personally think that you want to grow organically, and you want to grow people that want to come and see you and want your opinion on a case. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to get you all to like my opinion and, you know, just want to come and hang out. That's really what it is. That's, you know, all things Aries, you're a medium creator. And, you know, I never will, you know, I've never been like, if I don't get 25,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I'm quitting YouTube. Or I've never cared about my subscriber count. Like, it's never been about, I've always loved to get more subscribers. Obviously, I ask, you know, to subscribe. That's everybody on YouTube. But I didn't expect for us to grow 13,000, over 13,000. So, I mean, anything over this is good for me. And then once we hit, he's trying to say 100,000, but we're going to get him at 25,000 subscribers. We're getting Vincent on here to do a live with me. Oh, thanks, Shelly. I really try. I really, really try. Rosie said you were 9. Mia was 33 when OJ. Oh, you're not old. And I like that there are older women and maybe older gentlemen too on my channel. I love it. You guys are the best. Because coming from somebody, you know, that I don't have my mom anymore. And if I need help, as much as Vincent can look stuff up on the internet, he doesn't know the remedies, the home remedies, you know? And you guys know the home remedies. You guys are all amazing too, and I appreciate the comments. I actually went into a live today, and someone was talking about me. Not bad at all. And the comments were extremely nice, talking about just how much, you know, these people cared about me as a creator. And I was like, dang, you know, I was like, it almost made me cry. I was like, I don't know these people, but they just know my channel, and they know me through my channel, and they know that I'm a real, genuine person. You guys did tell me about the clothes. How 60? 60 what? 60 years old? It does take a village. And I got my Jan. And you guys know too, I've always, that's the one thing, like when I was a smaller creator, I'm still small, but you know, when I was smaller, I would go into chats and I would see like a whole bunch of mods. And I was like, oh, when I have a bunch of mods, I'm going to be a big creator. And then once I started getting more subscribers and stuff, I was like, well, no, you don't want that. You don't want like, you know, all of your chat to be blue. You want to select a few people, because I can't keep track of, you know, more than a few people. And so that's how we, you know, we had I think we had 3, and then we got Jan, and now we have Jan and Vincent. And I love that so much, because I know like mods don't get paid. And you guys come into the chat and you guys are awesome. You help Jan, you know, you're like the video, subscribe to the channel. And like, you know, I love that. And it helps me. It helps you. It helps Jan. And Jan's been helping me for a long time. How long have you been a mod, Jan? You've been a mod for a while. Like, it's been a while, but I love it. Thanks, Rosie. I think I know you're talking about. Thank you. I saw that today. It was very nice. And I mean, that's just being nice. Oh, thank you, Aries. I'll tell Vincent that. He is only the coolest, you know. That's what he says all the time. There we go. For those who don't know, this is Jan. I know I'm always talking about Jan, and people are probably like, did Jan block me or something? Yeah, I always try to thank you. I try to bring out good content. And we do a lot of timelines on this channel. So like if we're going to start covering like a new case, we'll do you know, I'll do like a full timeline to kind of get us all caught up before we start the live. That way I don't just come in and I'm like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, who are we talking about? What's going on? I try to make it a little bit easier for you guys. So yes. Mm-hmm. Very much. Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's Ashley, that's perfect comment. Like, one said they had to leave because of personal reasons, which was fine. That's fine. There was only 2. And then the other one, because I was a dictator. I'm a dictator over here. So that's all. But that's fine. You know, mods come and go, but Jan is not. Sorry. Sorry, Jan, you're stuck. But I will say this. I would break my, okay, so I have a thing, and I was thinking about this the other day. I have a thing where I like my mods just to be mod on my channel, because it's just it's a bonding thing. And, you know, structure, I'm a structured person and stuff like that. But I was thinking the other day, and I know Jan, and I do too. We like to watch Grizzly. And I was thinking, I was like, if Jan was ever a mod in Grizzly's chat, I was like, I would never mind that. Like, I would never mind that. It's just when you have like smaller creators and then mods go to different smaller creators, and that's just how drama gets started. And it's just not what we want over here. and we've covered so many. Janet is a very welcoming mod. She really is. I told Vincent that the other day. I was like, that woman will say hi to everybody. Like, she will make sure of it. Yeah, sometimes relationships just don't work out. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to go look at that post now that about Nancy. Don't be mad. Don't mess with Nancy. Why is everybody picking on Nancy lately? Pick on me. Don't pick on her. Got your back, Nancy. No, Lisa. Oh, okay. I was like, Jan is a staple of this channel. Yeah, I don't know what I would do without her. I really don't. I love her. Vincent have to come in here and show his face. And his screen name is Vincent is here. So you'll know when it's Vincent. Yeah, just to forget that. Ashley, I love that. Thank you. She said, well, it's nice to have somewhere to relax and have a great conversation and just forget about the stress of everyday life. That's why I know that I complain to you guys sometimes about like I don't complain about the injuries. I explain what, they are. And I love that you let me talk about that. But I really try, even if I'm having the worst day in the world, I'm not going to come on here and go, hey guys, yeah, I'm just having a shitty day. And yeah, that's not what you're here for. That's why I watch like these other channels too. Like I just watch weird channels because, I want you guys to be able to have fun, like have a little fun. The cases we talk about are extremely hard, but it's just I'm kooky. So I giggle at weird times, and I do that. But I think you guys all know that I'm a genuine person and that's just my kookiness. So I think it kind of makes you guys laugh in a way too. And then it kind of alleviates the pressure of what we're talking about. It's not as hard to talk about it. So. Oh, Ashley, I'm so glad because you work really hard. Aries gonna come to you impress. I love that. Some creators are way too serious. Yeah. Like you have a fun, balanced personality. I really try to balance it out. I try to, get the questions and all that. And I've never been a creator that will only answer a question if you send me money or if you have a membership. Like that's just, I really don't even look. I just look at the people in the question and I'm just like, oh, that's a good question. I appreciate your guys' kind words. And like a lot of creators don't get that. They don't get kind words, Well, what did I say the other night made you spit out your Coke? I forget now. Oh, misinformation station. I will say stuff that'll just come out and I'm like, didn't mean to say that, but but I say it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link in for the channel membership if anyone would like to join. I like doing the lives. Either before the members lives, either before or after the live is fine with me. But I thought it was kind of fun doing it after the live. So maybe we'll do that on our next like members live. And then I still want to get like a bunch of creators together and do like an open panel and just see what everyone thinks about just like the YouTube platform and its entirety. Yeah, that's her new name. Maybe I should write Nancy. And I know and that's one thing before I get up here. I'm going to say every single person in this chat that is here, every night with us, I can only say to our normals because that's the only people that are here every night, our normal people, but no one has ever been disrespectful towards a victim's family member. And we really haven't said anything derogatory towards Kohberger other than, he's a little spooky sometimes or something, but we've never been like downright mean or anything. So I like that. I know. Doodlebug. I saw your comments too. I'm all over the place. Yes, true crime is a dark subject that is otherwise not for conversation. This is a safe place for us. And that's what I want it to be. And that's why I'm here every night. I'm here because you guys are awesome. If I don't know what I would be doing. I would be so bored. I would be like, I need to get on live. I need to figure out that whole live from your phone. I don't know how people do that. Yeah, no one here is mean. No one here is mean. And that's what I love about it. That's, like, it's not fighting and being mean. You guys genuinely care about each other and me. But like you guys, you care about one another. Like I've never seen that in another chat. I've never seen where I'm just going to give an example. Was it Doodlebug or Cat's Life? No, Cheryl. Cheryl wasn't in the chat the other night, and like 4 or 5 people was like, "Where's Cheryl? Where's Cheryl? Cheryl here? Where's Cheryl?" And I love that. I love that. Oh, Cat's Life, that's so sweet. I love that you're like comfortable to share. You're like, oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Oh, thank you guys. You can take Nancy on adventures. I should. Yeah, I thank you, Elisa. Lives are hard. Like, even if you just come on and play a video which I never do, and I never just come on, play a video and get off. But especially when you're not used to public speaking, it could be a little crazy. Kristen, oh, I like that name. Oh, I'm gonna write that down because I know me when I come off here. I'm gonna say, what was Cat's Life's name? And then I can get other people confused too, I guess, huh? I love that. Well, you guys all know my name. It's Tanya. And I mean, it's not hard if you go back to my old videos. I say my name. I'm a public figure. I mean, I own a business, and it's not a business I made up or anything. It's a licensed LLC. Well, don't even need to write that down then. Look at that. Both of you guys' names Kristen. That's so crazy. I didn't want to write it down though. I never knew. I love that. Aries, is that your real name, Aries? You don't have, if it is, or if it isn't, you don't have to tell us, but I was just wondering. Yours is Christina. Oh, nice to meet you guys by your original name. This makes me remember like when I stopped working at the boutique I was working at right before the mask mandate came off. But for the year and a half that we had to like wear those or whatever it was, I never got to see any of the women. And so like I was looking forward to that, like just being able to see them. We'll have to do that on like a members live or something, do like a panel if you guys want to come up and then people will be able to see everybody. Aries is your real name. I like that name. Greek, I like that name. And I have a bazillion cats. I have one. I think I'm going to go pet him, actually. I miss him. I love all of your names. Aw. And I like Doodlebug. I like that name. Mine is Melissa. I bet y'all wouldn't guess that. Yeah, Boo Thing's name is Brittany, but she goes by Boo. But then I started calling her Boo Thing. She's got a lot of names now. And I hope she's feeling okay. Like, truly mentally, physically, emotionally. I hope she's feeling okay. Oh, because it's Christina Rain. Is it because the rain spelled like with a Y, and an E at the end instead of the like rain, coming down? Maybe that's why. I love it like that. That's so pretty. Oh, thanks, Lisa. I pointed out. There was actually a creator that wanted to come after me one time. This was like when I was doing Kylie Rodney, and it was because I was an easy target, I guess. And so I went live and I listed everything that they could have went through. Like I was like, gonna make fun of my eye? Like that's an easy one, you know? And so I was like making jokes out of it. I was like, it would just be kind of funny, you know? But I like to tease. I like to tease. Your dad named you? My dad named me too. Well, my mom wanted Tanya. My dad wanted Nicole. So I'm Tanya Nicole. So your real name's Donna. Oh, I know a couple of your guys' real names because you guys send like me emails and stuff. Lisa, my house is spotless. I'm actually going to go clean up a little bit right now because I got laundry out on the couch. That's killing me. I was going to do it before the live and I was like, just step away from the clothes. Step away from the clothes. I am so OCD that I wash my bed sheets every night. Like not every other night, not every 3 nights. I don't know what my dogs are doing in the bed at night, but they get it so dirty. And I'm a little OCD too. But that's what is good about that is I will always research and retain it as much as I can about every case. I'll never just go into a case blindly and just be like, here we go. Like I like to know every detail. So you're the same way, Ashley. Oh, it's so bad. I wish I could do like I have 2 new sets of like sheets, pillowcases, beautiful comforters. I'm not putting them on the bed until them dogs get a bath though. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Yeah, I always end up talking to you guys for a lot longer because I just love it. But I will see you guys on tomorrow's live. We're going to try to do like 7:15. And like I said, if that doesn't work for you, comment in the comments below or in the chat if you're watching on replay, you know. If you're watching on replay, don't forget to hit the like button or subscribe to the channel if you appreciate tonight's case coverage and you appreciate the talk afterwards because that's what we do around here. And that's the good thing about a live. After it's already been live, you can fast forward, you can rewind. You don't even have to listen to all that. So I appreciate you guys so much. But I will see you guys all tomorrow. And maybe I want to do that story. Like, you know, I want to cover my accident for you guys. That way it's out there again and it's a little better because, you know, it's been a while since I recorded that, like 3 years ago. So, but I will see you guys all tomorrow night. Have a good evening. Have a good Thursday. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.